Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. Thank you for joining our call today. Looking forward to what we get to learn and what everybody shares in our mastermind section of this call. We're going to start out with a 90-second private silent meditation. And let me get my timer set. Forgot to do that before we started the recording. Okay, so I've got my timer set for 90 seconds, and we're going to focus for this 90-second private silent meditation on gratitude for marking progress. And gratitude for marking progress, and we'll see what comes up. 90-second private silent meditation, gratitude for marking progress. Just write down whatever comes to you. Begin. All right. I have a mentor who sometimes if I get into a little bit of a funk, or just kind of like uncertainty, she will always have me, always says, just look back at the shore and look how far you've come. And the vision that I had today as I was in my private silent meditation right here was that I looked back and there was no shore. I was out in the middle of the ocean and couldn't see, maybe see like a little tiny blip on the horizon of where I'm going, but there was like nothing behind. And I thought, what an awesome place to be, where you're out in the middle and the only way is forward. It's like, I don't even know for sure that I could find the shore if I wanted to go back to the way that I used to be. And I don't want to go back to the way that I used to be. I only want to go forward. So it's sort of like that point of no return, when it actually feels like forward is closer than going back, and forward is better, and I would never want to go back. And so the next thought that came to me is, like sailors who they have like instruments and things, to help them know kind of where they're at. But for, ever, sailors have used the stars to be able to guide them. And the thought came to me that when you can't really see where you've come from and you don't really absolutely have full clarity of where you're going, then you can always look up, and there's something greater, something bigger than you that will guide you. Who else has something they'd like to share?
I'll share.
Okay, thanks, Kathy.
You can hear me good?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So what came to me was to look at this book that I've been reading. It's called Resolved, 13 Resolutions for Life. And what jumped out at me, chapter 6 is called Scoreboard, Resolved to Keep Score in the Game of Life. And the quote is, I know that the scoreboard forces me to check and confront the results and make the needed adjustments in order to win. Defeats are merely repeats with better information. And it talks a lot about planning, doing, checking, and adjusting, and then tracking and keeping score in a way that helps you to move forward and progress.
Awesome. So marking progress is a way for us to kind of make those small adjustments when we confront our results and say, okay, these results are not working. I need to make some changes to my actions. Thank you. Mandy, I think you had.
Yes. Yeah, I could see like a calendar or check marks. And the reason I could see the calendar or check marks is that you visually can see where you've been, and it helps you to see where you can make small changes. And I think that's the biggest key in keeping that score or having something to look at. It helps you to make the small changes that are needed to put you back on track or help you to keep going.
Awesome. Thank you. I think, we all have different personalities and we all have different experiences of what works for us. And I think that's something to realize that, one person's marking progress might work for them, but it may not work for everybody. So to kind of honor yourself and see what's the best way for me to mark my progress, what feels right for me. Thank you. Who else? While you're thinking, if you want to share something else, I just had another thought. When I love using my daily GPS as like a progress with my inspired shortcuts at the end of the planner, the GPS planner, the daily GPS 30-day planner. There's a section where you can write down all of your inspired shortcuts for the month, and that's a really great time. I always give myself like 2 or 3 days before I switch over to my next planner to do some evaluation, kind of marking the progress and seeing how God has been leading my life. And it's easier for me to see where my life is going if I see where God's been leading me all along. So those inspired shortcuts and going back and kind of reflecting on, seeing the path is a really good way to mark your progress as well. Any other thoughts about marking progress? Rachel, I was just thinking of you just having a baby, and when you're pregnant, when I was pregnant, there's a lot of marks of progress along the way, to see how you're doing, to see how the baby's growing. And, anyway, that's just came to me as I saw your name as I was looking down the list.
Yes. And I was also thinking, it's nice to be back on this call and to hear all your voices and to feel the momentum of moving forward in this way again. But I was also realizing like I've been moving forward in a different way, bringing a child into the world and just making progress that way. So it was and I'm hoping to do both now.
Awesome. We are hoping that you'll join us a lot more often now too. And I think that's something that really, for each one of us to realize and be aware that every single one of us is on a different journey. We're on a different path. And, especially if we're doing our daily GPS every day, there's no way that you could judge, what somebody else is doing as, is that the right path for them? There's no way, because if I'm connecting with God every day and asking what my inspired shortcuts are, I'm going to be going down my path with Him, and you're going to be going down your path with God as well. So it's like we are there's no way that we could even judge, is it right for Rachel to be on the gratitude call while she's, brand new mom, or, well, not brand new mom, you've got other kids, but, having a newborn, or is it better for her to not be on the call and to just focus on her baby? We don't know. That's only between her and God. And same thing, for all of us, and choices that we're making in our finances, choices that we're making in our families, in the relationships that we build, in, time that we give to hobbies or whatever. I think a lot of times we judge other people. It's like, oh, that's frivolous. Why are they spending their time on that? But we don't know, what kind of progress they're marking as they're going along their own path. Any other thoughts?
Yes, I was thinking about a road.
Mm-hmm.
And when they first start building a road, it's all black. And then they come along with paint, and they put lines and they put stripes on the road. And every time it moves forward, there's like a little bit of like a mark, for the yellow lines, or so you don't go over into someone else's zone. And I think it's so important that we have some of those lines or guidelines for ourselves, and different ways, just like you said earlier, to track, because then we're able to see, okay, this is my life and this is my progress, and you can go back and you can see that progress visually somehow.
Beautiful. Thank you. That reminded me of when I was writing the book, The Seven Gateways. It went through 2 or 3 titles before I finally settled on Gateways. And you'll notice when you read the book that I talk about like mile markers instead of chapters. It's like, you're going along these mile markers. And there's a lot of, there's some analogies in there about mountain trails. And I have done a lot of hiking, and I know, as I'm hiking on a trail, like there's a trail up Maple Mountain behind my house that is 6 miles to the lake, and they mark there's a mile marker every mile. And it's like such an exciting thing, when I see one of those mile markers coming up, it's like, oh, 1 more mile down. And it's like such a celebration of, I did it, because this particular hike is pretty steep. And I'm always super grateful when I come upon a mile marker, and there's like this progression, a marked progression that happens. And especially if you've been through something before and you notice the mile marker, it's like, okay, there we go. I know I've got to have this much energy to finish. So it's kind of a blessing when we have a repeat. Who was it that mentioned? I think it was, I can't remember who it was that mentioned, Kathy, I think, about a repeat being just like another opportunity for us to confront the results and make some changes. I think sometimes patterns and cycles that we go through can actually be really a blessing. And I know I learned that with manifesting when I was getting ready to step into something new, there was like a whole bunch of chaos that would happen. And it used to be really frustrating to me to be like, oh my gosh, all this stuff is happening and I'm trying to do something good. Why is all this stuff happening? But I realized after so many times that it's really an awesome process, that all of a sudden you have all these different opportunities and things kind of get dumped in your lap so that you can choose, is this going to be beneficial in what I'm creating now? So it's kind of nice, to recognize even what we maybe had considered bad patterns, to, if we're going through it again, to actually, look at it, kind of step outside of it and look at it and say, wow, maybe this is actually just maybe this is something that I need to just be aware of, and to know that this happens. Like when you have a baby, there's like certain things that happen. They might be uncomfortable, but they're marked progression, and just notice that and make some tweaks, maybe even just in our attitude adjustment, to see it as good, instead of always like being frustrated at things that happen, along a familiar path. Any last thoughts before we shift over to our affirmation process?
I'll share.
Okay, thanks, Phil.
And, as a framing contractor, there are lots of lines that we draw.
Mm-hmm.
We draw them on wood, and then we cut it to the line. And we go back and compare to the plan and make sure that, we are going to the right lines of the plan. And if we're, there's mistakes made along the way, but ultimately, sometimes you have to cut the wood twice, or, sometimes you have to throw a little piece away and start over and to make it look right. And, but really you can, once you get that piece in the right size and the right, place, and you fix it there, it becomes part of the structure. And then, you can build upon that, but it's a process, that you take, but it's a lot about drawing lines. Really, it's just really, if you don't, one of the most powerful tools that carpenter owns is his pencil,
Mm-hmm.
because it shows the way. It shows, like, where to do what.
I love that. Lots of really great lessons in like construction, what you're talking about. And I'm reminded again of the 7 gateways, that each one builds on the other. And like you're saying, sometimes it's a little bit of a mistake, but a good contractor, somebody who really knows, what is important, if there is a mark of progression that is showing you that we're progressing in the wrong direction, this wall isn't exactly plumb, or, I cut this board too short, or whatever, that a good contractor will know it's better to just like go back, rip that out, start over, fix it, whatever, because everything builds on that. You're building the frame, and the roof's going to go on top of that, and the walls are going to go on top of that, and everything goes on top of this frame. And if it's not, perfect, if it's not plumb, if it's not aligned, then everything that goes on top of that, it creates a weaker structure. It could even be dangerous. So that's part of our marking our progression, is when we notice that we're out of alignment, or something's not, moving in the right direction, that we don't just like keep pushing forward, that we take a moment and stop. And, it really isn't ever expected that we do it perfect the first time, but it is expected that if we find a mistake, that we, repent. I mean, that's what the atonement's all about, is to give us an opportunity to repent, go back, make that change, so that then what gets built on top of that is plumb, is aligned, is perfect. Thanks, Phil. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. And just allow yourself to get into a very grounded state, even allowing yourself to be fully aligned. Envision that you are standing or sitting in a place in the earth where your feet are connected to the earth, and that your spine is completely aligned to where your head is, the crown of your head is up to heaven, and just feeling that warmth and light coming from heaven, and also the vibration of the earth below your feet, so that you are just one complete aligned conduit. Take one more deep breath. And if there is anything within you that is out of alignment, just be aware and make some physical adjustments right now to change the structure of your body so that you are more aligned. And also listen for any limiting beliefs that would also take you out of alignment. As you are considering the progress that you made in your life, and maybe there are some reminders coming to you of past failures, quote failures, things that you've done that maybe you wish you hadn't, rebellious nature, not being obedient when you'd received your inspired shortcuts or whatever. Just listen for any limiting beliefs that are coming up for you about being in alignment and staying in alignment. And what is the cost of that limiting belief? If you hold on to that limiting belief, what will that create for you? And as we know that the law of attraction brings us everything that we put focus on, just noticing the outcome that that limiting belief must produce for you in all areas, not just in the area of alignment with your body, but areas of finances, areas of relationships, areas of career. What does that limiting belief, how must the universe interpret that? And what will the outcome be if you hold on to that limiting belief? And if you don't like that, you can give yourself permission right now to change it. So if you're willing to give yourself permission to change that limiting belief into something that will serve you better, say yes.
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 Awesome. So go ahead and choose some new beliefs. What are at least 2 or 3 new beliefs that will replace that old limiting belief? New beliefs that will be empowering, that will help to keep you in alignment, that will give you the freedom to allow yourself to be making progress, to not absolutely be at the finish line all the time. Allow yourself to mark your progress and continue on. What are your new beliefs that will serve you? In being in alignment and staying in alignment, or allowing yourself to get in alignment whenever you notice that you're out of alignment. Also, possibly new beliefs that will give you permission to look back and mark your progress, and also look forward and possibly not even see the finish line, but to be able to envision it, to know that it's there, and give you the freedom to just explore, to continue forward and mark your progress along the way, feeling gratitude for every step, and knowing that you're moving closer and getting farther along with every step. And with these new beliefs, I invite you to really breathe them in and to allow them to become part of you, to take the place of that old limiting belief. Allow that limiting belief to be completely gone. These new beliefs replace it. And then feel within your body as you're realigning yourself. Feel in your body what the change that these new beliefs have made, how this has changed your ability to be in alignment, kind of with that framing contractor mentality. How has this change that you've made? What will perfecting this particular area of your framework? What possibilities have you created for yourself by bringing these new beliefs into your body framework, into your ability to align, into the strength and the confidence that you stand tall and upright before God and man with? And with that new confidence and that new strength and power in your framework, what is the one most important thing that you could do today to really anchor in and give you evidence of the power and the strength that you've created for yourself, that you now feel within your body? What is the one most important thing that you could do today to give you evidence of these new beliefs, of the truth of these new beliefs? In a moment, I'm going to open it up for a couple of shares, and I would love to also invite anyone who is struggling in this area at all to reach out to me and have a 15-minute conversation. All you have to do is just go to askwylene.com, and that will take you directly to my calendar, and you can schedule a call. askwylene.com, and that is a free call, free mentoring session, and I promise you it will be amazing. Is there someone that would like to share something about their experience today? I'll share.
I'll share.
Okay, go ahead, Rachel.
I was thinking, the thought came to me that when we're in alignment, we're supported. And I really thought that was interesting. Even in our physical body, there's a lot of things that support our spine and make sure we're in alignment in our bodies. But my new beliefs, because my limiting belief is I'm not supported financially, which is interesting. And my new beliefs are I welcome the support of others in all areas of my life, and I'm grateful for the blessings that flow into my life consistently.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. I think it's interesting that, we feel like we need support when we feel like we're out of alignment. When everything isn't going exactly perfectly, when we're not like in perfect sync or whatever. But what you're saying, it feels so true that when we get in alignment, when our beliefs are in alignment with proper financial principles or, whatever it is, then it's like being in alignment is a natural support. Like our muscles naturally support our spine so much easier if we are in alignment than if, we've got our head cocked to the side. It's like one side is working harder than the other. When we get ourselves in alignment, it's like everything relaxes. There's like a natural alignment that happens that we don't need as much support. We are actually supporting ourselves. And I just think that's kind of a cool principle. Anybody else?
I just thought also is that you said it's natural, so support is natural and it's always there. I just don't think we always realize it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. It's very true. Thank you. I'll share my inspired shortcut today is to go on a hike. That's something that I have been telling myself I don't have time to do that. And I'm going to make time to do that today. I do have time to do that. Any other shares? We have time for maybe one more share.
I was just thinking about how, just as you and Rachel were just talking about, just support naturally being there. I just, as this call has been going on, the moon has been coming up over a mountain peak right outside my window here, and I was just thinking about how everything on the earth and things within us making progress, it comes, God has already created we already have our individual paths created. They're already in the middle of creation, and just as easily as you know, we see the moon rising or the sun coming up or the seasons changing, we can feel and witness the ease of our individual progression as we make the conscious choice to allow it to be easy and just watch the hand of God move in our life.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, so powerful, Tammy. I 100% agree. Just really love what you shared. And that is a great place for us to end on. I am so grateful for everything that has been shared today. Grateful for my own new realizations as you guys have shared your thoughts. It's helped me to realize some things within myself. And I'm super grateful that there are so many ways that we can mark our progression. And I love what, Tammy, what you're saying, that we can have the belief that it can be easy and simple and just as easy as watching the moon rise, just as easy as watching seasons change. I mean, that's the way that God set it up. Just like she said, God's already created it to be that way. And we humans try to make it so hard, you know, by pushing through what, you know, trying to create a different path or something, but just walking along our path, asking every day, what's your inspired shortcut, following that, and making some adjustments here and there to perfect it, and then just building on all of those wonderful truths that God has already provided for us. I'm just so grateful for everything. Before we started the call, I mentioned that I was really grateful for the scriptures and the blueprint that is in there, that through his prophets, he has really given us everything that we need. And I'm just like, I'm so astounded at how these words have been with us for eons, and that so many people still don't have the truth. You know, they read the scriptures every day and they still don't have the truth. And I'm just like, so grateful for everything that God has given us. And when you really open your eyes and see how blessed we are and how he has given us everything that we need, it's just truly amazing. Well, love you guys. Look forward to being back together tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. Thank you all for joining us today, and have an awesome day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.